The Phoenician Scheme, Wes Anderson's latest caper. I was lucky that this came online so quickly because normally you'd have to wait at least 3 months for, I don't know, a HD print or a Blu-ray to come online. But thank God for those pirateers, if that's what they're even called anymore. I don't know. But thank God for them. Watching this movie, before I even get into the film, I just thought to myself that there are a handful of filmmakers, actors, documentarians, people in this field that we have so come to love, who, if by some, I don't know, divine hand or science, we could prolong their lives so that they could continue to produce what they're doing for generations to come. I think I would definitely put Wes Anderson, I would elect him, I would nominate him, because this man, so unique in what he does, so singular in what he does, that may God give him a long life, but I mean, sort of, if and when he were to go, I don't think we would ever have someone like him again. It is a singular voice. It is, I mean, I wouldn't even say, layman would be perhaps too much, but I mean, for example, even those with a cursory knowledge of cinema would look at a single still of a Wes Anderson movie and be instantly able to recognize, at least maybe not the director, his name, but would be say, yes, okay, this is the Grand Budapest Hotel or the Royal Tenenbaums or Fantastic Mr. Fox or well, maybe not Bottle Rockets, but I don't know, The Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou, The Darjeeling Limited, Isle of Dogs, Moonrise Kingdom. I mean, what would we do without this person? What would he do without him? And so, as a plea to the, to the Almighty, or at least whoever else is responsible for giving him a long life, please preserve this man. He's not a national treasure. Wes Anderson is not a national treasure. I'm sure Americans can definitely, he is American, of course, but I would like to claim him for the rest of us. He is a global treasure. So we get, hot off the heels of all of those Roald Dahl movies that he did last year. That, and of course the other one. I'm forgetting the name of that one. God. But those Roald Dahl ones were fantastic. The ones he did for Netflix. I mean, adapting all of those short stories. Wow. So now we get, of course, the Phoenician Scheme starring Benicio Del Toro, among so many others. And of course, that newcomer who plays his daughter. I'm sorry, I'm forgetting her name. But what a turn both of these. We'll get into that in a second. But first, what I did want to say is that while, for example, I'll get to the example in a second, but this is perhaps maybe his most political movie, or at least it has a significant political undercurrent. I mean, considering with what's going on in the world right now, with the Middle East aflame as it is, and the choice of his Phoenicia, this sort of country that is almost like a mix between Iran and Iraq, or at least post-World War II, sort of like, the Middle East, after it was carved up. With the royal, with what's it called, the Grand Budapest Hotel, if that movie was a reflection of Europe through most of the 20th century, it going through, sort of monarchy and republic, fascism, communism, that was there. That was definitely there. Particularly in those scenes where, Ralph Fiennes his character travels, and they're on the train and they're always stopped by one security force or soldiers or another representing some sort of, change in the regime. This movie definitely is commenting, it's pointing towards, the state of, this imaginary country, but it is, sort of an Iran-Iraq amalgam, and how sort of these robber barons, these tycoons of the time are trying to carve up, not carve up, but at least, use it to further their wealth and their gains. That was something that's interesting. And I think it's also, I wouldn't say underscored, but I mean, it's telling that he dedicates this movie to his father-in-law, who I didn't know was Lebanese, of, I believe, Palestinian birth, because he was born in Bethlehem. I did not know that Wes Anderson's wife is Lebanese. But even the sort of epigraph he kind of gives, dedicated to a man who was born under, I think, the trees of Bethlehem and, Lebanon or something like that. It's nice and fitting. So yeah, that was... I like that. I like this turn that it's taking now. That Wes Anderson sort of is injecting or infusing in his things. We've seen that throughout. I mean, sort of even in the last movie, the one about Area 51 and the aliens and all of that stuff. Also, I think a reflection of post-World War II America, baby boomers and sort of like, that wealth that came with it, and sort of like, the mod cons of the era, and sort of the atomic scare, all of that stuff. He kind of nicely packaged it in that movie. This movie, I wouldn't say it is his best works or even his better works. I think it's somewhere, sort of along the lines of Moonrise Kingdom, in that it is a fine movie. It is a good movie. You're not going to see anyone else make something like this. But when you are used to the sort of heights and glories that Wes Anderson is capable of, then you think, Because remember all of those Rolda ones that he did last year on Netflix, which everyone should watch. Those are so well done. So well done. Benicio Del Toro and the lady who plays his daughter, I think, are the stars of this movie. Benicio, I mean, it's nice how he can go from something like Sicario and then do something like this. Shows how versatile an actor he can be. One actor who I think was miscast, or perhaps I just don't understand his charm, is Michael Cera. I think I only ever liked him in Arrested Development. After that, I've just found him irritating. And there's nothing that he kind of adds to this role. I find it a curious choice. I find it almost like, sort of a bum note, considering the rest of the harmony of this movie and everything else that we're given from all of the other actors, because there's so many. Bryan Cranston, Tom Hanks, Riz Ahmed, Scarlett Johansson, Benedict Cumberbatch, with his glorious eyebrows, playing Uncle Nubar. Scarlett Johansson's interesting because she plays Benicio's cousin, but also, I wouldn't say it's a veiled reference. It is a reference, of course, to the early days of that Zionist project that we've all come to know as Israel. Because they refer to it, he refers to it as, what's it called? Private utopian preserve? Is that how he refers to it? But every time they focus on her in that country and where she is, somewhere off in the desert, and she even has that look of those early settlers, sort of in their shorts, sleeves rolled up, working in the fields to turn Palestine into a garden, of course, as if it wasn't before. But I like that. I like that little jab, if you will. It brought to mind Bradley Courbet's The Brutalist, and there's that one particular scene, sort of they're in the dining room, it's sort of a small New York hovel apartment, and it's Adrian Brody and his wife. Sitting across from him is his adoptive daughter, niece, and her husband, and she's talking about how she wants to Israel, we have to go there because it is the duty of every Jew to go there and reclaim and redeem the land. Maybe I'm adding that bit myself. But that was an interesting way of putting Zionism. Yeah. So where I feel this Phoenician scheme kind of maybe falters is it's very by the numbers, because the thing is that there's this point in which he lays out these shoe boxes, and sort of they go by the numbers to all of these places, by those shoe boxes, because that's where each of these particular investments are and with whom he's done these investments. And I think it's kind of plodding in that way. Of course, it's always uplifted by, the antics. Would you care for a grenade? That's a line being used in this. And then, of course, the production design and the costumes. I mean, if you don't walk away from this movie yearning for a pinstripe suit, then, you are dead to fashion, or fashion is dead to you. But I think that's where, that sort of serial nature of it is kind of, I don't know, it could have been made tighter. The movie lacks zip, the kind that we've seen in other movies of his. The finale is kind of interesting, in which there's this bizarre fight between brothers Benicio and Benedict. And yeah, the movie's violent. I mean, one of his more violent ones. But I don't know. I wasn't sold on the movie entirely. Not to say that I didn't enjoy it. Not to say that it didn't bring a smile to my face. But again, when you're used to excellence from someone, when they just do an okay job, not even an okay job, I think this is easily like, a B++ movie. You still, you're like, okay, thank you. Let's just hope the next one is better.